Did you? Because Scott was looking for it and the mayor. And I didn't see the email till I got in this evening. I know we have it somewhere, but I just couldn't dig the hole deep enough to find it. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if he has 10, you should have enough, Bob. You need one for Marge, 8. Clerk Paul, can we call the committee to hold to order, please?
Sure. Lennon.
Here.
Boywood.
Here.
Leisha.
Here.
Fate.
Here.
Pabon.
Here.
Ruiz.
Here.
Aaronella.
Here.
Carmichael.
Here.
8 present, Mayor.
Okay, so we have 2 items up on the committee of the whole tonight. We're going to start with the lead service line replacement, Robinson Engineering. Who's going to lead that? Nicole, are you taking it? Okay. Do you want to, though, introduce the 10-year rule that just came into effect at the federal government?
Yes, so instead of 20 years for replacement, it has to be 10 years,
There's a little caveat where if you,
of course.
they have a formula that you use, you guys would be at 17 years. So you get, if you have a lot of lead service lines, you get a little bit of a break.
But our plan covers 26 years
Right now,
as it stands.
it's at 20.
Okay. All right, I'll let you take over.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'd be really concerned about how that conflicts with the 10-year that the federal government rule they just passed.
Are you referring to that Biden announcement today?
Correct. Step to the mic, please, sir, if you don't mind.
Sure. Do you want to talk about that?
If you would, before you start. Yeah, I'm just a little worried about that.
Okay. So it's called the Lead and Copper Rule Improvements. They just got finalized today. This had been out in draft form for the last year, so we kind of knew it was coming. The 3 big things are mandatory lead service line replacement for the whole country. That was not mandatory before, it was in Illinois. A 10-year time frame for most communities. However, they have a formula, which is 0.039 times your total number of services. If that's less than, I think that gives you a replacement rate per year. And if that's less than the 10% per year that would add up to the 10 years, then you go with that formula. So for you guys, it is. So you would have to replace 550 per year with this formula, which is equal to 17 years worth of replacements.
Okay, and that's what you guys have figured in.
Yes,
Beautiful, okay.
yes,
That answers my question. I got a little concerned about that.
yes.
Okay, you could start with your presentation then.
Okay, great. So I'm Jonathan Flowers. I work for Robinson. We've been working on lead stuff. You moved it over here? Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. We've been working on lead stuff for the past 3 years with the city. So we've been around a little bit. I want to thank everybody for having us, coming out tonight, Nicole and Bob for setting this up. And the big reason is that we're going to start construction. So we're going to actually start replacing these pipes. And we want to talk about what our plan is, hopefully get some of your input, and then we can get the ball rolling. So I just want to go over really quick a brief introduction again of what a lead service line is. So a service line is the water pipe that leads from the water main that's usually in the street into your house. It's usually about a 1-inch diameter, and it can be made in Berwyn out of copper, galvanized steel, or lead. So that's what we're worried about. If it's lead, the state and the federal laws now say that it has to come out, and that's the time frame that we were just talking about. If they're lead, they have to come out at a rate of about 500 per year, starting in 2027. So most communities have a ownership boundary at the curb stop valve there. Let's turn this on so you can see it, which is right there. You guys do not. Technically, the homeowner owns, or the property owner owns the whole service line. So that'll complicate things a little bit in terms of who's paying for what. And we can get into that later, but I just wanted to bring it up. And if I say public side, we're talking about this portion on this side of the valve, the street side. If I say private side, I'm usually talking about that side as we move forward in the presentation. Okay, so this is a summary of what you have. There's about 14,000 water services in town. Of that, they're about 60, you see that pie chart up there, they're about 69% lead or galvanized, the ones that need to be replaced. And that could be, you have, sometimes it's lead on one side of that valve and copper on the other side, so that includes any pipe that has a portion that's lead in that 69%. And then 31% is copper that we don't need to worry about. That's from the inventory effort that she was talking about earlier, where we've sent out a survey and done digging and things like that. So these are the numbers here on the right of what this is going to mean for the community. 14,000 services, 10,000 are lead. It's about $10,000 each to replace them. At about $550 per year, that's $5.5 million per year. And then over 17 years, it's about $100 million. So we're talking about a big issue. We do have some funding coming through, but there's also the aspect of how are you going to pay for it after the funding's gone or if there's no funding. So we want to talk about that briefly today and maybe just start the discussion. So because that's a huge financial burden, the state and the federal government have released the bipartisan infrastructure law. They have $15 billion worth of money for lead service line replacement. The state of Illinois is going to get about $250 million per year for the next 3 years. And Berwyn's going to get a part of that. So this is the scoring of how you get money. They have these characteristics that they look at for their census characteristics. So they divide up the city into census tracts. You have 10 census tracts. Each tract has about 1,500 homes in it. And then they assign point values based on these things. So median household income, children under 6, unemployment rate, poverty rate, social security rate, supplemental income, pre-1990 homes, and then lead service line burden. Like how many lead service lines how many lead service lines are there in the area? And this is how we projected the city was going to score when we submitted the applications. So we can look at the census data too. And so that's how we wanted to point out, this is the 280 score here. And if you look at the other scores, 260, 270, this was the highest scoring census tract. So this is what we submitted for funding to the state. That's why this area was chosen first, because we want to get that money. Where is that in town? So that's, and we'll go over it a little bit more. That's right here, this darkest color here, that's the highest scoring. And you can see on the map, the lighter the color is, the less likely they were to get funding, the darker the more likely. So this is the actual state list of who got funding. You can see Berwyn's kind of on the bottom edge here, so we were grateful that we chose the highest scoring tract to apply for. I'm just going to zoom in here and talk about what this means. Slid off the slide a little bit here, but we applied for $10 million. We didn't want to lose out on any money, and they said you're going to get about $3 million. So that's what we have for this area. Like I said, you can do about $10,000 per service, so we could replace, when you take out the engineering, about 260, 270 services. And these are the ranks. So you rank 37.46, and then there was about $100,000 gone already by the time you got funding. So that's important because this is the same program that's going to be in place year after year. So there's 3 more years worth of this funding, and as we move forward, we want to make sure we keep getting funding. The only issue is they now opened it up so that one community can apply for multiple census tracts. So we're gonna do that with you guys. However, because you're a little bit lower scoring on the list, the Chicago poor communities, the Rockford poor communities, Moline, places like that, they might gobble up a little bit more funding. So I just wanted to put that out there as a caveat that we got funding this year. Hopefully, we're gonna get it next year. It always turns out somehow that there's more funding available than we think. But I just wanna put it on the table that because we were a little bit lower, and there's no way we can change this with anything we can do, it's just census tract characteristics. There's a possibility we might not get funding next year. But we're gonna apply and do everything we can to get that funding. Okay, so this is the particular census tract. Like I said, we're looking at about 260 replacements. Of those, coincidentally, we're also doing the Berwyn, or the Cermak water main project. We're replacing that water main. So 80 of these replacements will be on Cermak associated with that. So we can use this money to pay for the service line replacements associated with that water main. So we're gonna have about 200 left for the remaining about 1,000 properties when you take out the Cermak properties.
And I just wanted to add, with the new EPA laws, if we replace a water main, we have to replace the water services in their entirety.
Yes, all the way into the property to the meter.
So it's, gotta find lots of money for all of it.
Which is what we did in the Depot District.
Yes.
Right.
Correct. Okay, we'll zoom in on this area just a little bit more so you guys understand what it is, what these 1,200 homes are. I think that might be a slide on this. But the top street is 16th Street. Just wanted to show that, and then that's the census tract number there. So,
Can you go back to that slide one more time, please?
yes,
So you're saying the upper, the north is 16th Street, so it's
Correct.
26th Street to 16th Street?
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so it's a big area, we got a lot of homes, and like I said, we've got about 1,000 homes, we could only replace 20% of them for this. So there are a couple ways to skin the cat when it comes to doing lead service line replacements when you have funding for an area. And the rainbow chart in front of you has some of the explanations of what different people do. So what we have proposed is a cost sharing where the residents would pay about $3,000 per service line, and it would be first come, first served. So they would sign up and say, yeah, I want to do it, and then the first 200 that sign up and are willing to pay, those would be the first 200 that would get replaced. So the benefits of that are that it takes a lot of legwork from us and from the contractor to go out and track down people if it's not first come, first served. So if they sign up, we know they're committed, we know they're ready, we know everything's lined up. The other benefit of it is that obviously the money's gonna go farther if the residents are contributing a portion of it. You've got a 17 to 20-year time frame where you gotta get this done. Are you gonna be able to do it for free forever, is the question. Or do you need a little bit of help from the community to pay for the replacements? The drawbacks are, you have, spotty replacements throughout the track. So like, if you're gonna do a water main project, you go to that street, you're like, well, we've got 5 replacements on this street, so we gotta go do the other ones now. Or if you're doing a street project, you know that at some point in the future, after the street project, that street's gonna have to get torn up again because you didn't replace all the service lines on that street. So those are some of the bigger issues, and then also the burden to the residents. You got $3,000 that they gotta come out of their own pocket for, pay, and then you gotta track it, you gotta set up a receipt plan and all that stuff too. So there are pros and cons to both. We've laid out on that handout kind of what other people do. There's no right answer. I think, that's why we're here tonight. We want to talk about what works best for you, and what you think the community would want to do.
I have a problem with the $3,000 per property.
Okay.
We all got hit really hard in this town with the taxes here in Cook County, with what happened. And I don't think too many people are gonna be able to come up with $3,000 to have this replacement. If it were my option, I would say that we would at least try and go city expense, no residential contribution, at least as far as we can go. Because the $3,000, we're not gonna get a lot of people to do it. And there's gonna be people already losing their homes because of what happened with the taxes. And I'm not in favor of the $3,000 at all. it's just a bad time for us here in Berwyn.
Yeah. And we have found that some communities, Cincinnati is a great example, they started out with cost sharing. It was too cumbersome, people weren't signing up, they felt like it was an extra burden to low-income people, and those were the people that weren't signing up, and so they changed. They changed 3 years ago and said, well, the city's gonna pay for all of it, we're gonna raise money, raise taxes, and pay for it. So it's definitely an option. That's been done. To that point, we did do, when we sent out our survey, we surveyed the residents and said, would you be willing to pay for this? And here were the responses. We got 91 people said yes, 183 said no, 362 said maybe. So there is, I think you can spin it either way. You could say, oh, well, if 91 said yes, in this project area, you'd probably fill your quota. But then you also say, well, 183 said no, so obviously the people are not in favor of it. We just look at numbers. This was with our send out, where they had to scratch the pipe and take a picture. So over the last 2 years. Okay, so that's, if you guys have anything, and I know you just got this information, I guess we can take a break and talk about it for a second. So the packet that you got, the double-sided with the rainbow, that is all about cost sharing. What do different communities do? How do they pay for it? What are your options?
Do you have another copy for the record?
No, it's, okay.
Marge, you wanna look at mine?
No, I just need a copy for the minutes.
Okay.
So not only is there different ways to cost share, including not having the residents pay anything, but there's also, you can set up loans to pay things back. Different communities have done that. And then that rainbow chart is what various communities around here have done. I will say, we have, I think, over 20 communities that have got SRF state funding for this, and none of them are doing cost sharing, to your point. I think a lot of people say, hey, we're getting state money, let's spend it. But as it becomes mandatory to meet a certain mark per year, the cost sharing is going to become a lot more prevalent.
And I understand that, and I'm thinking we might have to look at a cost sharing down the road, but at this point in time, I just don't think it's feasible for our community.
Okay.
So I understand that at some point we may have to look at that, but right now, I would just be opposed to it.
Sure. It does make sense, while you have the funding, you might as well
Right,
go.
right.
We currently have cost share 2,500, is it?
We have a program
For
where
25.
people were voluntarily doing it, where we did have a cost share, and there was 2,500,
Yeah.
correct. That's for not just the lead service line, but we also had cost sharing with the check valves and things of that nature. So
Would it be something to look at for income-based property?
the
So you
problem.
have residential, or you have two flats that are maybe owned
That is possible.
outside?
The problem I see with that is who's gonna monitor that? Who's gonna take that over? Right now, the department is so swamped with all the different grants that they're writing for, with everything that they're doing. You see all the street work that's going on. Who's gonna monitor that to monitor what people are making, get the proper records? We have a problem with that with CDBG, in that people don't wanna give you all their financial information. So that's gonna be a difficult thing to do, in my estimation.
Well, if it's owner-occupied, it's different than if it's not owner-occupied. That's what I'd look at.
Something
like that.
That could be a reason, definitely. I could see a point on that, yeah. Bob, you want to say something?
Well, our current program is a cost-shared program where the resident signs up, pays the fees, pays the bill, and then we reimburse them $2,500. It's not a $2,500 out of pocket, it's, we reimburse them
Right.
$2,500.
Go on, sir, I'm sorry.
Got to your point about renters, the state law requires renters, if they're offered to do it, or landlords, if you offer to replace the pipe and they deny it, for whatever reason, even if they have to cost share, they have to provide in-unit filters on every fixture that provides drinking. So there's a little bit of leverage there to get them to sign up.
Okay.
Okay, so that handout, there's one handout that has the cost sharing. The other handout that I gave you is the mailer that we are intending to send out. The mailer is what we are gonna give to the residents in the project area. and it kind of explains what we're doing and invites them to an open house. And the big picture is we want to get them to sign up for the program. You know, they need to let us in their house. So we want to create a familiar, transparent environment where they can come in and say, yeah, this is a good thing, and then sign up.
So would they be hung on doors, or they're actually mailed through the post office?
They would probably be mailed, yeah. This was just easier to bring tonight.
Gotcha.
There is some state-required information in there, the different languages, the health effects of lead. That's all state-required. The other stuff we're putting out to the residents to just say, come to our open house, let's get educated, let's get the project done.
For the replacement program, who's providing the work? What plumbers are providing the work? Are we going out for bid for this? Are we letting each resident pick their own plumber? What's the deal with that?
We're gonna go out for a bid for the whole thing.
For the whole project?
Yes, so there will be one contractor that wins the bid for everything. They can sub out how they want. They are required to advertise for disadvantaged businesses. We can do a local advertisement requirement as well, but it'll be one contractor that wins the bid for the, whatever it is.
So my thought process is with the amount of work that low bidder is going to get, can't they subsidize some of this work? You understand what I'm saying? Why the resident, as opposed to the person who's getting the money to replace it all? In other words, if you're making specs for a bid, why can't those specs be that instead of having a cost share from the resident, that's cost share from the plumber who's getting all the money? I understand, but it's gonna be a lot of business here,
Oh, it is.
Like a discount for doing the whole project.
Right.
Basically.
I mean, possibility.
Sure. Okay. Think about how to make that work. So this is just more information on how to sign up. We've got that stuff, we invite them to the open house, and that directs them to our website. We have this great website, it's called gettheletoutil.com. And this is just the kind of front page. I'm gonna click forward here. We're gonna go to the Berwyn Home tab. So I click on Berwyn, and then there's a page that goes to the Cermak Road site, and there's also this sign-up sheet where you can just enter your name, email, phone number, sign it at the bottom and submit, and that lets us know that they have signed up. And the goal is to have a packet of homeowners that are ready before we go out to bid. So we're gonna send out mailers, we're gonna have an open house, we're gonna do a little bit of advertisement to say, hey, let's get ready, and then hopefully reduce bid prices for whoever wins the job.
So will these mailers be in dual language, Spanish and English?
Yes, they will. Good question. I just want to talk about the open house a little bit. We'll go over dates in a second, but we plan to have the open house probably here or at a community center that everyone can get to. Just tell people, and Becky's actually bilingual. She's with Robinson, so we would definitely have people there to just get people to sign up. We would also, we won't have the contractor there, but we would hope that city staff will be there and anybody else to kind of promote the project. And we want to do this for every replacement project moving forward because it's a very personal experience for the residents. This is kind of the time frame, and it's crunched, as you can see. So the meeting is today. Hopefully, if we get the cost share issue resolved, we can send out these letters to the residents by next week. And the open house will be at the end of October. Once we have the open house, they can sign up, do what they want. We advertise for bids November 10th, open bids in the middle of December, and award the project before the end of the year. There is a long loan approval period from the IEPA. They call it a loan. It's a forgiven loan. It's really a grant. But they take about 4 months to review the bids once they come in. That's why the construction wouldn't start in the spring, but I think it's not a bad schedule. I think contractors are gonna be hungry for work come December when they're bidding. I also think they're gonna be ready for work in early spring, when we're planning to get started. So I think it's a good plan if we can execute.
So right now, the only hitch in the plan is what we all feel about the cost share.
Correct.
Well, at that point, I would ask each alderman what they feel about the cost share. because then that would obviously let you follow through with your dates. So, Alderman?
I'm good with having it fully funded here, but I would question the rental, the owners of rental properties.
Agreed. Alderman Leisure?
No, I agree too. I'd rather skip the cost share. Skip the cost share, make it fully free to the residents, except for maybe multi-unit.
For the homeowner?
Right, for the homeowner, and maybe pay for the multi-units. Could do a cost share.
Multi-units cost share,
Right.
even if it's resided in by the owner?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Alderman?
No, I agree with you, Mayor, that, you know, these people aren't gonna be paying this money right now, so let's use the funding.
Okay. Alderman?
Yeah, I think I'm good with no cost share, but I'm good with that across the board.
Okay. Alderman? Luis? Pardon?
Same.
Okay. Alderman Arenado?
No cost share all across.
Across the board?
Yep.
Alderman Carmichael?
Yeah, concur. Same.
Okay, so it seems like consensus here would be oh, I'm sorry, Marge, you would see if Jim,
I'm sorry, Jim, did you have anything for the straw poll?
I would go against the cost share.
okay, so it seems as if the cost share, the consensus here is the cost share all the way across the
Okay,
board, okay?
thank you.
Can I ask a question about the areas that you're targeting for the census tracts?
Yes.
Those are our low to moderate poverty areas in Berwyn, correct?
I don't know if they line up with the low to moderate income based on CDBG.
The, target population is children,
Yes.
6 and under, so if you have a very large family, that's what we're trying to do.
Income is part of it, but it's not specifically a low mod area.
Well,
It's
I thought you were using census tracts
It's a census
to
tract,
target
different-
demographics and not income?
It's different than the CDBG
Okay.
census tract.
All right.
It uses, you want to go back to that slide?
Yeah, escape out of it. Pardon the delay. Oh, yeah, there you go. Those are the characteristics.
They're different than the CDBG census tract. It's a different formula for lead service line and the replacements. Children and income is part of it. Now, they use it in different weighting than they do in the CDBG.
So even though income is at the top there, if you have multiple children, then it could be in that 0 to 80 range, is that right? So
Yeah,
like
that's
each
why-
kid would count for up to 80 points?
No, they would do it on a census tract basis. So they would say, how many kids under 6 live in the census tract?
In this area.
Yeah. And I think it would probably be a percentage of total population.
But, so wouldn't median household income still be the major factor here? The number one factor, since it can go up to 100?
So I think
Am I reading that right, or?
these are the actual scores per census tract. So like for the census tract that got chosen, kids under 6 actually scored higher than median household income.
Because they
Got
would
it,
have
okay.
the most impacts to
Got it.
their brain development and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
The median household income is still pretty high on that
It is.
compared to one, so it's, yeah,
It's
it's still a factor.
all the factors, yep.
Okay?
Okay. All right, I'm gonna start back up here. At the end here, I just wanna really briefly go over what the project is gonna be, how these replacements are gonna look, so that if your constituents come up to you and say what's gonna happen, you can explain it. So most of the work is gonna be done using horizontal directional drilling, it's called, where they actually drill underneath the street or underneath the yard. They have a new technology, it's called pit drilling. They used to have to sit on the surface, now they can dig a pit and put the equipment, that's a brand name, a Grundo pit, into the pit, so they don't need as much room. So in a situation in Berwyn where you don't have huge yards, they still can do this technology and still drill underneath the ground. So this is just pictures of what the project looks like. That pit technology is there on the left. You can see this. The hole there is about 6 feet by 10 feet, and then there's another one for the B-box that don't disturb the street. These are examples, you'll have patches in the street. The IEPA does not pay to resurface the street, only patch it, and then this is about the size of the restoration that's gonna be in the front yards. This is what it's gonna look like inside the home. So they'll either go through the wall or come up through the floor. These are about the size, so these are 1-inch diameter pipes of what that's gonna look like. And we're gonna write it so that the contractor will do everything to a structural, clean and flush finish, but is not gonna put back drywall or tile or carpet or things like that. I think that's just too hard to do. We would prefer to rely on the residents to get that done. And then this one on the right, it's a little bit hard to see, but this is a full replacement. And I just wanted to show this because they're very accurate with these drills. You know, this one they put behind a wall, got to the right spot, and this is what the finished floor looks like there. So they usually do it pretty nice, leave a good value for the homeowner. They get a new water pipe, it's an old pipe, they leak, they break, and also they have lead in them. So they get a new pipe, and it's a $10,000 value to the home.
For some of the multi-units, is that size pipe gonna be sufficient for the water pressure?
So we will match the existing size pipe.
You're gonna match the existing size, okay.
Usually lead was.
Many of them are undersized already, just so you're aware of that, but yeah.
Well, that's a good point. So we can talk about that. We can base it on the fixture count, exactly. So the standard, we'll size them right.
Okay, all right.
Usually anything above 2 inches is not lead as well. So if you have a huge building, it's not gonna be lead.
Okay.
And this is the last picture here, so it's been a while. If you guys have any questions, please.
Questions, Alderman?
So as far as the exterior patchwork, does that come out of your budget then, since it's not part of the project?
That comes out of this project budget. What doesn't come out of the project budget is if they chose, or if we chose to resurface the street after all the work was done.
Yeah, the patchwork's in the funding, and the restoration's in the funding, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Is the patchwork included in that $10,000 number that we're talking about?
Yes, that's everything.
Any other questions?
If we're doing this now and we do, and we get in as fast as we can, so each year we have to do we have to go through all this again? Or for the grants and everything?
So we've submitted what's called a project plan. That's good for 5 years. The resubmittal now is just one sheet of paper.
Oh,
Where we send in a sheet of paper and we say, we want this many in this area. They score you based on that criteria, and then they tell you whether or not you got money.
And then do we keep, whatever we decide, we keep that throughout the years? So we say
Whatever we
don't-
decide on what?
Like, say we decide we don't want to do a cost sharing, so we say we're going to stay with that.
Well, at some point, we may have to consider a cost sharing. Again, what we're dealing with here is the people that are scoring highest on the census tract
Okay.
because of the young children and everything. So those are the people that are gonna be most affected by the lead pipes, but also maybe have the least amount of money also. So we're gonna have to make a determination at some point in following years whether or not we need to change to a cost share.
Okay, I see.
And with the cost share, even with the funding we're gonna get there, we're gonna have to budget extra money for
Correct.
this in our world anyway.
Correct.
Okay.
And to your point, Alderman, there is a lead service line replacement plan that we have to do as well that sets up what are you gonna do for the next 20 years. And that requires public hearings and things like that. We submitted a first draft already, and we'll have to submit another draft in April, so we're gonna work with staff and you guys to get that.
Okay.
And
Thank
a
you.
question, so the bid process, that's something your office will handle from start to finish?
Correct.
Yeah, we'll work with Robbins to get bids out and all that, then we go through the standard bidding process. And, then the award and all that, and then it goes to the EPA for review.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next item we have on the committee of the whole is the road abatement presentation. I will say this, that I gave some information to Amber Dawn, our assistant administrator, but she ran with this project and really did 99% of the research, and went over it with me, but she did a lot of work on this. So Amber, it's all yours.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for having me. I am going to attempt to make this work. What happened?
You guys should have two handouts on your desk. One is the slide presentation she's going to do, as well as some other information that she packaged up for you too. And again, Alderman Pavone, this is all the stuff that we had
Thanks.
figured out. There's still some more work, but we want to give you this with your road and abatement committee to see what you guys think, and then come back, because there is some other work that Amber and I have to do with some ideas that I have on this, so. Amber?
Okay. So yes, the mayor asked me to use my education experience to look up mitigation strategies for Berwyn's rodent population without the use of harmful poisons. And so this is, I have been reviewing peer-reviewed scientific articles and papers. I've been working with our blight department, our building department, public works. I had a meeting at the township to kind of figure out, what is the city doing? What can we pivot? What can we augment? And so this is just,
Amber, real quick,
Yeah,
just to silence some of the trolls, would you tell them what your background is, please?
sure. I have a bachelor's of science in zoology from the University of Washington, and then I have over 2 decades experience working in animal care and welfare and behavioral psychology. So, okay. So, rodent mitigation strategies for Berwyn. So first we have to know, what are we looking at? The rat population of Berwyn is made up of primarily 2 types of rats, the Norway rat and the roof rat. They are very similar in a lot of ways. They're both crepuscular or nocturnal. However, one of the licensed exterminators that I spoke to said that they are opportunistic and they will be present anytime there is food and predators are not present. The Norway rat is subterranean, where the roof rat is arboreal, so you'll see them in the trees and on roofs. Both are neophobic. They're afraid of new environments, new things. They have poor eyesight, but they have a heightened sense of smell, which they will use to communicate with one another. They'll use to find food, make themselves aware of predators. Both have a 1 to 2 life expectancy. That's going to be important later. They reach sexual maturity at 6 to 8 weeks, and they can have 8 to 12 plus pups every 2 months. That is also going to be on the test. So, our rat population, looking at just our rat population, taken from reports made to our blight department, it looks like our rat population has decreased to pre-pandemic levels. It got real high during the pandemic, but you have to make note that these are reports coming in. So people were home, they were reporting more. If people aren't reporting, then we don't have an accurate assessment, so it's very important that people are reporting rat sightings. The populations appear to be located in pockets, with the south and northeast sides of town being the highest populated, and then there's an area around 31st and Euclid that gets a lot of reported sightings. The sightings do increase with demolition and construction, so that's important because we just learned that we're going to have a lot of digging happening. So that will also be on the final. Okay, mitigation strategies that we're going to explore. We have traditional poisons, natural predators, natural horticultural deterrents, trapping, and then community engagement and education. So traditional poisons, this is what is mostly used by licensed exterminators. There is wildlife-safe poisons with little to no bioaccumulation, so those are the ones we want to focus on. But we have to make sure that whoever is using these poisons and placing them for the rats is using them appropriately and with oversight. We want to target the areas where we do have the most reported sightings. And then we need access to residential properties. So this is one of the situations that we run into here at the city is somebody will report that there's rats coming from a property, but unless that homeowner allows us on that property, there's nothing we can do. So we want to work with our CSOs to kind of engage our community, talk to our residents about natural rat mitigation and things that they can do to make the environment less friendly to rats. And then introduction of gossipol products. That's a cottonseed oil product. It's a new rat poison on the market. It's not really a poison because cottonseed oil is a FDA-approved food. But what it does is it makes them infertile, both the males and the females infertile. So 6 to 8 weeks, they become sexually mature. Every 2 months, they're giving birth to 12 to 15, who knows how many pups. If we take that out of the equation, that's going to make a big difference. But we still have the rats that are here for 1 to 2 years of their life expectancy. See, it all comes together. All right, and then seasonal strategies. They do mate year-round, but it is higher in the warmer months. All right, natural predators. We're just bringing some mountain lions. So what a lot of my research brought me to this Working Cats program. This is bringing in feral cats with residential participation who house the outdoor cat, but the cat is feral. It's not to be brought into the home. It's supposed to go out and do its business. This would create, we want to have a partnership with residents for that, but then we also are looking into a partnership with parks, schools to attract natural predatory birds in an area with simple environmental engineering and owl boxes, just the addition of owl boxes. If we can balance our local ecosystem, it will reduce our dependency on traditional poisons. Rats are present where humans are, because where there's humans, there's food, but we do a really good job of getting rid of all of their natural predators, so we need to change those two things. Okay, natural horticultural deterrents. So mint is a great deterrent of rats. They don't like the smell of it. I read studies where they will avoid an area where there is mint. So if we can have a partnership with our parks, our schools, our businesses, and even our residents to cultivate and plant types of mint in the area, that will make Berwyn really smelly and the rats won't want to be here. And then it's mint, so it smells nice. Trapping, this is a very humane way to do it if you use the right traps. It's about a 30% success rate. The rats, because they're neophobic, they don't like to interact with new things, you basically have to train the rats to interact with the traps, but it's not hard, it's very simple. They can be highly effective in an area, but they will need to be maintained, so that will take staff. And then we can quantify the success of the traps because there's a dead rat there. Community engagement and education, this is something that the city and the aldermen have already been doing, so it's just something that I think we could augment. We could heighten it to a full-on campaign, create a citizen rat patrol to clean up alleys, educate the neighbors, house those cats, plant that mint, look for birds of prey, and then the Working Cat program, of course. And so my recommendations is to do all of it. Rats are a huge problem. They're all over our city. They have reduced, but they're never going to go away. So we need a multifaceted approach using traditional poisons, natural predators, horticulture, community partnerships, and then we want to regularly schedule assessment of the program. to see if it's effective, what's working, what's not. Let's pivot, let's change some things. And then if the program is successful, one of the licensed exterminators that I spoke to said that we could wean ourselves off of anticoagulant poisons. Those are the ones that make the rat really sick, that move up the food chain into our birds of prey, into us. We can wean ourselves off of those within 2 years. But I do suggest 2 new ordinances be drafted and passed. One is requiring mitigation, licensed pest control with any commercial demolitions or construction, especially all of those lead pipes that are about to be changed out. And then eventually, a prohibition of certain bioaccumulation chemicals like those anticoagulant poisons. And that's it. Questions?
Now, the other part of this is, and Amber stated in the beginning, is I've been working with one of the commanders of the police department about getting the CSOs activated. What we're checking on now is if there's any certification they know. They're all trained with respect to animal control. I don't know that they need a special certification for this. We don't think they do. We need to feel that out. We feel that a lot of the problems have spread, obviously during COVID, to personal property. And we're not getting on, our exterminator now is not getting on those personal properties because people's not letting them in. So what we are looking at is using the CSOs with the badge, with the uniform, knocking on the doors, trying to instruct people as to the brush on your ground here, the feces in the yard. You got to clean that up. We've got to do something because now we can eliminate those areas where these rats are going, because they are going on the people's property. The hanging plants during the spring and summer that are on the ground, that's what they feed on. So I'm working that out with the police department now to try and get a CSO program that can kind of utilize the private property, keep the extermination that we have with the strategies that Amber has come up with for our public areas, so we can attack it 2 ways. So I'm still working on that private property program, but I've gotten some good ideas with the police department on that right now. So along with what we're sending to the Road and Abatement Committee, Alderman, is all these ideas that Amber has, as well as the private idea that I have for the private property. Be aware that the feral cat system, Amber, what was the time frame on us getting involved in that program with?
There's a waiting list and it's pretty extensive, but we could always create our own program that mimics theirs or work with a different shelter.
Okay.
So they're not the only ones that do it. He's talking about the Treehouse Canopy, which is a organization out of Chicago that run their Cats at Work program. But we could always mimic what they do and create our own program.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Amber, through your research, do you know what sort of poisons we're using right now?
We are using mostly anticoagulant poisons. So there are some anticoagulants that have a repellent in them. So if the rat eats it and dies and a hawk comes along, that rat smells weird and so they don't eat it. I don't know if he's using the kind with repellents.
We're going to get a list of what's being used, as well as a list from the store that he buys the chemicals. We've got access to the store from the other licensed exterminator that she spoke with, so we can get a whole price list of everything also,
Okay.
including the cottonseed oil and the other things that Amber brought up. I'm sorry, Alderman, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was gonna ask, can you expand a little bit on the CSO program? What exactly does that mean? Would that mean using the current CSO staff that we have, increasing it? How would that work, with parking enforcement? Would that be a deterrent for it? And why aren't we using the building department inspectors for that versus CSOs?
Because either way you're looking at it, it's still the same staff. The building department staff is always out there to begin with. We can use them in addition, because the ability is going to be for either CSOs or building staff, but the CSOs will be uniformed and have badges. And I think people will sometimes open their doors a lot sooner to that. In addition, both sides could write tickets, but our goal is not to write tickets. Our goal is to educate the homeowners that this is what's attracting the rodents. And if you can please take care of it, follow up. If not, you are subject to a ticket.
I'm just a little concerned because that would be another added responsibility to our CSOs, correct?
It'd be another added responsibility to our building department staff too.
I know, but the CSOs are the ones that do parking enforcement, and they're also the ones that are pulled to direct traffic during certain circumstances, accidents and such. So would they really be?
Actually, the auxiliary is pulled for directing
Would they
traffic,
be
not
able
the
to be
CSOs.
able to do that?
Yeah, according to my conversation with the commander of the police department, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mayor, I thought we had an ordinance that when there was construction, we would mitigate or go out and check for rats. Maybe I'm
Not that
mistaken.
I'm aware of. But that's one of the things that she discovered, that we didn't have that. So I'll have to draft, with the attorney, we'll have to draft something along those lines. Let me just check with the alderman first. Any other questions from the alderman? Donnie?
Mayor, what about, with the CSOs, if I understood you right, they're gonna be able to go on private property?
They can't go on private property, they have to knock on the door first. None of us could go on private property without the owner's permission. I just feel with them with the uniform and badge, they're more likely to be allowed on the private property.
Okay, so my question would be, what about all the garages, sheds, some homes that are in ill repair, where rats can burrow underneath and, under slabs, concrete slabs underneath back porches and whatnot? How do we address that?
Well, here's the way I would approach that, and again, I have to work this all out with the police department and/or the building department. The way I would approach that is the way we do it now, is if you can see it from the alley or from the front yard over the fence, you can report it. You just can't go on the property. So, a lot of times, we'll get that information from neighbors. Neighbors are the ones that generally call us to say, hey, I could see that there's rat holes underneath the sidewalk or underneath the garage. Then we can follow up with that, with those individuals. If we can't get on the property, the only option we have then is to write the ticket and have it adjudicated in court. I'm trying not to do that if we can help it. I'm trying to give more of an education than we are to find people.
So then what you're saying is this would kind of like work in conjunction with some people that would have bird feeders out there, and the birds are a little bit messy, and they drop food on the ground.
Yes.
To track the rodents.
Yes, in fact, that did come up about 3 weeks ago, Amber. We got a call here from one neighbor that has another neighbor that's been feeding the birds, and it gets all over. We sent I think it was the building department, went out, spoke to the person, and she's cleaned that up.
Can you,
Go ahead.
I live at the 3200 block in Kenilworth, and I put in 2 complaint requests, and I've been called back on. I see rats, I have dogs, so I walk up. It's just unbelievable to me. They're just everywhere. Doesn't matter what time of day, just running around. Do we also address businesses? I live near the garage, garbage everywhere between their clients, them overflowing, their garbage onto the ground. They have rat holes just on the whole length of their building by their pastas. I'm talking about the garage, the restaurant. Are we also addressing businesses? To
Yes.
say, hey,
Well,
you guys gotta clean your act.
we passed the ordinance that they had to have a contract. And between the health district, Clay there, and Josie here, they're following up with all those businesses. So that they're not only checking that, but they're checking for the debris around the businesses. And if we find that out, now the health district doesn't have the authority to write tickets, but they report it to us, and we will send the inspector then to write the ticket.
Yeah, and I mean, I really don't even care about the ticket. I want them cleaning up their garbage. I mean, they don't care what's thrown in that yard, in the neighbor's yard,
Yeah.
or whatever. So, and people that have a lot of bushes, and I live by all the construction, so that has made them, come out of nowhere, whatever. But also, do we knock on people's doors, to just tell them too about their own garbage? There's a family near us that garbage
Yeah, and that's,
They're just having a field day.
that kind of goes along with what Alderman Ruiz said, because we only have 3 blight inspectors, and they each have a third of the city. So if we hear reports about that, we send them to that location. They do try and knock on the doors and advise first. If not, then yes, they will get tickets.
Oh, yeah, these folks are out of title.
Yeah,
So I'm just curious for those
Right,
things.
right.
Because, they're everywhere. At least in that area of.
you had,
Yeah, I have a couple questions. So, in terms of the CSOs getting involved, what would be sort of the workflow for that? Would that be a call-in to the buildings department or blight department? They would relay that information to somebody, and then they would go out. Just like
Yeah,
helping me
yeah,
imagine how that would work.
we haven't developed that yet,
Right.
so I've just talked to the commander to come up with some ideas. So we haven't yet developed it. That was one of the ideas. We're hoping that we can integrate with those CSOs the ability to plant traps on the private properties also.
Okay.
But that's all got to be
Right.
examined to make sure we're allowed to do that. Obviously, the private homeowner, if he lets the exterminator that's out on the public streets, he will do that, but unfortunately, not everybody's letting him in. So that's why I wanted to see if we can stem that private property a little more.
Yeah. And then, through the research and work that, we've done at the ad hoc committee level and in the community, we've seen a lot of older adults struggle with this, especially folks who can't, get out in their backyards to clean things up or clear out debris in their alleys and things like that. And it would be really great, I think, if the city and Amber and her role could look into how the senior services department plays a role in this, because there's just some seniors just can't get out there. They can't clear out weeds. They can't clear out the bushes. And I think that in terms of supporting the residents,
No,
I think that's
I see
important.
where you're going with
Yeah.
it. The problem is most of the landscapers we have don't do that. They strictly
Right.
mow lawns, whether or not that'd be an additional thing, senior services or additional. We are
Right.
also examining, with the help of our rec director, because he's got some input with respect to landscapers, we're examining additional landscapers.
Yeah.
So we're working on that also. That could be something
Yeah,
that.
or even that team, that's you guys are thinking of constructing, just so that there's some support, some mutual aid built in for the older adults especially. And then also, Amber, I wanted to ask you, this is really great research, and a lot of the stuff, that is in here came up during our meetings, but I was wondering if you had any information on different cities' budgets for rat abatement in our area or comparable cities, in terms of how much they're spending on mitigation.
I do not have that information, but I can find out and send it to you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
No problem.
Did you have that at all, David, by any chance? Okay. Anything else, Alderman? Micah?
I just wanted to express some concern about the Working Cats program. From my understanding, cats, if you're introducing feral cats, obviously we're trying to work on the ecosystem that can really upset some things. Generally speaking, cats are not great for controlling rat populations because they tend to target smaller prey like songbirds and stuff like that. So I worried that bringing in a lot of cats wouldn't effectively reduce rat populations as a method, but it actually has an impact on the area.
Okay.
Are those feral cats fake?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just making sure.
Yeah, they're neutered. I actually have 3 of them on my block. I've not seen a rat.
Oh, yeah, no, I know.
Right. Yes, sir.
That is, to acknowledge your concern, I hear you. I'm a wildlife lover as well, and that was one of my cons, is that the predators are not only gonna go after rats, they will go after other animals. We do have a large bunny population that might benefit from some predators. Love the bunnies, but the cats are fed. It's I don't know if anyone's familiar with this program. Basically, a resident volunteers to bring in a cat. There is a little shelter, an outdoor shelter for the cat. The resident feeds the cat twice a day, not leaving the food out all day long. Obviously, that would just feed the rats. And then lets the cat do what it does. The research that I have done, and the articles that I've read, have showed that it does really help with the rat population. Just the cat being around is enough to scare the rats away. They smell it, they know there's a predator in the area, and so they will leave that area. But I totally hear you, and this is why one of the things I would want to look at is the relationship between our predator and our prey, so that if we're seeing that our rat population is really low, let's stop adding the cats to the area. So absolutely, we want to balance the ecosystem. We don't want to make it worse.
Sir, you had your hand up?
Yeah, so we have a rat's nest in the gangway between our houses.
Oh, I didn't know you were,
Yeah.
this is the guy
These are,
behind his house, it's
yeah,
garbage.
they're
Not his
members of
house,
the community.
neighbors.
But I don't know, maybe you have the high-end rats in the high-rent district and the property, but they're under the hospital.
Yeah.
And at the other end of the hospital, we just noticed there's a bird. So, you know, animals live in there. I know that there's a nest there. The exterminator was out over the weekend. They poisoned, placed the poison. It was all very helpful. Friday night, I was watching, I was down the back porch. I saw 5 different rats coming from the same area of my yard and then going out. So the ones you're seeing, I know where they're coming from. You know?
Not the same rat line, right?
No, they're
No,
different
there's
sizes.
a ton, yeah.
They're different sizes. And, we first saw them in July. That's when we first put our life report in. But, we can't use the backyard.
Right.
And the rats are going out our backyard, onto the street, around the corner. And they're going to the parkway where everyone's going to the other space, or the garage, or Flapjack. Patrons are getting out of their car, and they're going to be welcome to the rats.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, is there like some immediate thing that we can do? Here's the nest. My son wants to, use some environmentally impactful things. We're saying no, but.
Yeah, he has a dog, I have a dog.
Yeah.
We don't want our dogs to die.
Right,
So,
right.
We'll just wait, but I don't want to see everything that you accomplished in the Depot District rebuild. Beautiful job. Painted wood. Yeah, but don't go there. They've got rats.
Well, if you would just do me a favor and give Amber, after the committee of the whole, your addresses, so we can see if there's something we can address immediately, so that we can try and jump on something right away, okay? Yep. Anybody else?
Last question, so is the next step is that this will be presented at the ad hoc committee and then they'll decide what the recommendations or what the path moving forward is, or what exactly?
Yeah,
the
I
next
mean,
step?
we did this so that, I know you have a meeting on the 15th, I believe you said?
Next week.
So that they had a bunch of information in front of them, so that they can kind of address what they think they'd like to do, so that we can get it all together for us. But, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I want to work on the CSOs for private property, I want to work on the cottonseed oil and the traps, but until you guys tell us, yeah, this is it, we want to, because it is going to be a budgetary item that we're going to fit in the budget.
And then I would like to mention, so for the Alderman said, brought up about the senior services, they do have the front yards they take care of, but, and they have the handyman who do the backyards, that's an extra cost, but maybe we could expand that and help out with the backyards for all the seniors.
Yeah, those are all the landscapers, the handyman doesn't do the backyard.
No,
The handyman
that's
does repairs inside the house, limited.
okay, but they have the guys that come out for
Landscapers
the
will do
back.
their backyard, but they don't do bushes and trims and stuff like that. They
Right.
will do it privately, but unfortunately, then we get calls that they charge too much. So what we're
Right.
trying to do is examine more landscapers that will join the senior program. And again, it's a limited amount of money that we're paying them to do this.
Right,
So
right.
that's part of our problem,
If
so.
we could expand it somehow, maybe.
In the future, could the CBDG money be part of that?
CDBG
supplement?
money
Or is
doesn't
that-
cover that.
Okay.
They cover some aspects of the senior services, but not that.
So I find with my repetitive rat houses that it's not the seniors that are the problem. So I think the biggest issue is if we have a house that's 8 years, I've been going to that house for 7 years, and it continues to be a breeder in the neighborhood for rats, it's a problem. And for us not to be able to address it or get it resolved by conversations or blight or fines, it continues to be a problem. So I probably have 3 different areas.
Unfortunately,
and 1 or 2 or
sometimes.
3 houses.
Right, unfortunately, sometimes the only way to address it is tickets and fines. But then you have people that don't show up in court, and the fines just pile up, and what happens with them?
Yeah, there has to be something to be done. I mean, the residents around, try.
Right.
But, they want to call NBC News, and they want to do everything possible, because they still have rats jumping in their pools next door.
Right. Well, that's why I think this volunteer idea, I think there needs to be an intervention, because I think it is a both and, right? You have houses where they're repeat offenders, but then you also have folks that are struggling for whatever reason to fix what they need to
And I
fix.
think
So
that was Amber's, in her presentation, that was one of the things
Right.
she was really relying on, is a community education and the volunteer program where residents
Right.
help each other and help us.
Right.
So basically is what it
And
comes
I'd be
down to.
happy to share with you, when we did alley cleanups, we incorporated education, outreach, mutual aid, door knocking on problem homes or backyards. So I'd be happy to share all the things that we used to create anything that you all might create.
Sure. Okay. Anything else? I have nothing else for committee of the whole. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Lennon by Aaronella. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Hey, Jim, do you want me to call you back, or do you want to hang on?
You can just call me back, because we got about 20 minutes.
Yeah, sounds good.
If you could just call me back, that'd be perfect.
I'd be happy to. Okay,
All
call
right,
you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. That's sweet. Rich, I'm so sorry. We're gonna get this copy of Davis. I know.
Here's this one.
You're gonna sign here and on the back. Oh, no, you don't have to sign. Here and then here. Okay? Okay, you get to keep this. We'll file a copy in my office and also with you. And when they grab a copy of the agenda and you see your item, I just read this in color. And then you just say, alrighty? No, so we're going to do it. Here, I'll give you a copy of the agendas.
I can't be off work at home with my wife and kids now.
Wait, I have to call Jim.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available.
He just sent you the voicemail?
Maybe I dialed wrong. I once dialed Moscow.
That's his voice message.
Is it?
This one, I sent it 2 places, here and here?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, why?
Just go ahead.
Yeah, might as well, right?
You got a second? You got
Is
a
that for Park
This
District?
is the, yeah, Park District.
Yeah.
school board member?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good old days?
Right.
Right.
Right?
Well,
That's
February
fun.
is not positive yet, but according, right now.
Yeah.
According to the attorney, Kelly.
Wait, did they put on here, I got some stuff missing.
They picked that side originally.
My YMCA is not showing. What else? What's this? Oh, the pre-filing?
Mayor, just a second. I don't think.
Sorry.
I forgot where Jim was on line. Right.
Sorry about that.
That's okay, Jim, we're live. Yes, we're ready, Mayor.
Call the council meeting to order, please.
Lennon,
Here.
Woywood,
Here.
Leisha,
Here.
Fate,
Here.
Pabon,
Here.
Ruiz,
Here.
Aaronella,
Here.
Carmichael.
Here.
Motion to allow him to participate.
I'll make the motion to allow Alderman Whitewood to participate over phone.
Second.
Motion by Lennon, seconded by Pabon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We can all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we can please keep in our thoughts and prayers the family of Brian Dominic, son of President Larry Dominic from Cicero, who recently passed away, as well as the Public Works Director, Sam Jellick, whose wife recently passed away, Mary Ellen Jellick, as well as all the men and women we have on the street tonight. Thank you. If anybody wishes to address the open forum, please step forward to the mic at the podium. Claudia, make sure the microphone's on, please.
Hi, good evening, council members and residents. I wanted to very briefly address the item on F2, F1, which is a proclamation and invitation for the Berwyn 2024 Walk, Bike, and Roll to School Day. You'll notice that I left some copies right here for residents and also for our council members of the newly revised and updated Safe School Travel Maps. These maps came from the outreach and the responses that we got from our back to school events that we participated in with District 98 and 100. The maps that we originally had provided to residents were very, very well received, but they were a bit outdated from the last ATU program that was put together. So we worked with Kim Kuza from our Public Works Engineering Department, and she was able to update all 12 maps based on the feedback we received from residents and also from other maps that we provided to schools, including District 100, District 98, the Park Districts, and Morton West High School as well. So based off of all that feedback, we were able to come up with these new these new maps. There are some maps here available also for each one of the schools, so we hope that you will join us. And I wanted to give a big shout out to Kim Kuzo for doing this in such a short period of time. This was her first project. She's our new GIS technician from the Public Works Department, and so we're very fortunate to have this resource now available. So if anybody has any questions, you can always reach out to the Communications Department or give us feedback. We would love to hear from you, and we hope to see you tomorrow in this event that's taking place citywide. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Yadira?
Good evening, City Council. My name is Yadira Padilla, and I am a First Ward resident. Some of you may recognize me from my work with JSA and recently being elected as Midwest Governor. I wanted to give you a brief update on how it's going. After 4 years of dedication and hard work and raising over $20,000, I was informed in July that Junior Save America, a 90-year national organization, would be shutting its doors. As you can imagine, this was huge for me, and I'm not going to lie, I was devastated. However, being a Berwiner, I knew that where there is a will, there is always a way. And so I was able to establish a now registered nonprofit and a 501c3. I am so happy to announce that organization today, called Civic Leaders of America, also known as CLA. Once again, I am asking you for your support as we continue to thrive and serve our community as young leaders. I hope that you'll be able to help us rebuild, and I would also like to thank Mayor Lovera for helping me every step of the way, giving me guidance and encouraging me to keep going, even when it seemed like too much. As I stated, we are officially registered, we have an organizational bank account, a mission, and we have a website forthcoming. If you are interested in supporting us, I have a QR code listed over here. You can scan it, and if you're interested in donating, please take a sheet. Thank you, and once again, have a great night.
Thank you, Dara. Anybody else? Jamie?
Hi, everyone. My name is Jamie Ravel, board president of the BDC, and we'd like to pledge $1,000 towards CLA.
Thank you, BDC, and Jamie, thank you very much. David, did you have something else for open forum here?
Well, I was going to cover it under item E1, unless you'd like me to handle it now.
I think we'll give you time on E1 if you prefer that. That's no problem.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else for open forum from the audience? Alderman, anything for open forum?
I have, oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. As previously stated, tomorrow is Walk, bike and roll to school day, and most of the schools are doing something. I would like to invite everyone to come out to the 16th Street Fire Station. I will be doing another pop-up for my crossing guard recruitment initiative. We will also have representatives from the tollway with their toll passes. The City of Berwyn will be there with information, and State Representative Elizabeth Hernandez will be stopping by. And we will also have refreshments from 7:30 to 9 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman?
I want to give an extra applause to the Berwyn Police Department. They did a phenomenal job with the festival and parade this weekend, especially the parade. It was a flawless parade procession, and I want to thank them for all their hard work. They started at 2:30 in the morning on Sunday to clear out the Vason Fairway, and then moved to East Avenue from 16th to 21st Street, starting at 10 a.m., and they did a magnificent job. I also want to thank all the organizations, the sponsorships, and especially the schools who came out and showed their participation and their pride in for Hispanic Heritage Month. We had over almost 50 different organizations walk in the parade, and we had over 40 vendors support the event. And I want to thank everyone here that donated and sponsored to have the festival continue to grow and be definitely something to be recognized here in Berwyn as us sharing our culture and ethnicity and diversity.
Thank you. Anybody else? Alderman? All right, hearing none. Item C1, please.
Item C1 are the minutes of the Committee of the Whole and the regular City Council meeting of September 24th, 2024.
I'll make the motion to approve the Committee of the Whole and regular City Council meeting minutes of September 24th, 2024.
Second.
Motion by Leonard, seconded by Fay to approve the Committee of the Whole and City Council minutes of September 24th, 2024. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item E1, please.
E1 is a communication from Kendra Shaw of the Berwyn Development Corporation informing the council of recent awards bestowed to the BDC.
David?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, in August, the International Economic Development Council bestowed two 2024 Excellence in Economic Awards to the Berwyn Development Corporation. The two projects are for the Berwyn Shops and for our magazine, the Berwyn. I'm really pleased to be able to hear just the excellence that our staff is performing and being able to share that with you. We're here this evening, some of our board
Your
members.
staff is a little shy. We need to get them up here.
And our staff, so that we could go ahead and share that award with the community, as well as get a picture with you, Mr. Mayor, just celebrating this accomplishment.
I've been more than happy, Mr. Hulsberg, because the BDC has done a tremendous assistance in the city of Berwyn. We've always been partners. So that definitely, welcome all of you.
Go ahead. Gary, you can go up too.
Do we have a motion to consider the
Motion.
item
I'll make-
informational, please?
A motion.
Motion by Aaronella, seconded by Pabon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
You guys want to go over there? No.
Look at Gary.
Gary's like, I'll hold it. Okay, perfect. 1 second, and now look at you.
Gary, look at Bobby.
All right, Gary, over here. Gary.
So cute.
All right, here we go. One. Ready? One. Look over here, Bob. 1, 2, 3.
Look here now. It's for Dave.
Congratulations. You know, you do notice that Gary carries all the water there, don't you?
Yeah.
Item F1, please.
Item F1 is a communication from the mayor submitting a proclamation recognizing October 9th as Walk and Roll to School Day. Whereas according to the 2022 American Community Survey 5-year estimates, the population in the city of Berwyn is 56,556. There are 19,904 households, 13,426 families in a total area of 3.90 square miles located in suburban Cook County. And whereas the population density in our city is approximately 14,502 inhabitants per square mile, Berwyn has the highest population density of any township and the second highest density of any other city in Cook County other than Chicago, with a recorded 15,397 children aged 0 to 19. And whereas our city boasts a 100% walkability rate and has been nationally recognized for its safe and direct pedestrian crossings, lined trees, proximity to fresh fruit markets, public parks, library, and public recreation center, immediate care clinics, schools, public transportation access points, and community business hubs. And whereas a lack of access to safe physical activity, green spaces, and physical activity are major factors which contribute to rising rates of obesity, diabetes, and other preventable health problems among children. And whereas over the past 2 years, Morton West High School has collaborated with the Berwyn Police Department to improve the safety and efficiency of the arrival and dismissal procedures and plan for students at Morton West High School, leading to a more efficient and safe transit environment for students. As a result, Morton West saw the number of students struck by automotive vehicles go from 10 in 2022 to 2023 to 0 in 2023 to 2024. And whereas the City of Berwyn recognizes the important role for parents, schools, parks, and community leaders in teaching children about pedestrian safety and creating awareness of the preventable health issues that can be addressed with a positive, disciplined, and active lifestyle. And whereas children, parents, and community leaders around the world are joining together to walk to school in support for safer routes to school, safer streets for pedestrians, and a more sustainable future for our generations to come. And now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Robert J. Lavero, Morton West High School District 201, Berwyn North School District 98, Berwyn South District 100, Berwyn Police Department, Berwyn Fire Department, North Berwyn Park District, Berwyn Park District, the Illinois Tollway, and the esteemed members of the City Council proclaim October 9, 2024 Walk and Roll to School Day in the City of Berwyn and encourage everyone to participate by encouraging and promoting this citywide event annually.
I motion to approve the tomorrow, October 9th, as Rock and Roll to School Day. Adopt the authorize their corporate authorities to affix the necessary signatures and place it on its way to passage.
Second.
Motion by Arenella, second by Ruiz, to approve the October 9th, 2024 Rock and Roll to School Day, approve the proclamation, affix necessary signatures, and place on its way to passage. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? The ayes have it. I'd ask Superintendent Havis from District 100 and Mary Beth Arenella from District 98 to read some multiple proclamations. Dr. Smith, please. Congratulations. Item F2, please.
Item F2 is submitted by the mayor. It's an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Berwyn and North Berwyn Park District.
It be my motion. Are we ready? It'd be my motion to accept the IGA between North Berwyn Park District and the City of Berwyn, affix the necessary signatures, and send it on its way to passage.
Second.
Motion by Ruiz, seconded by Aaronella, to approve the intergovernmental agreement between City of Berwyn, North Berwyn Park District to plant trees, affix the necessary signatures, and place on its way to passage. All those in favor on the call of the roll.
Lennon.
Aye.
Roywood.
Aye.
Leisure.
Aye.
Fate.
Aye.
Pabon.
Aye.
Ruiz.
Aye.
Aaronella.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item G1, please.
Item G1 is a communication from the clerk with a resolution to release closed session minutes as redacted.
Be my motion to concur with City Clerk Paul and adopt the resolution to release redacted closed minutes and have the corporate authorities fix necessary signatures and place on its way to passage.
Second.
Motion by Fate, seconded by Lennon, to concur with Clerk Paul and adopt the resolution to release the redacted closed session minutes, affix the necessary signatures, place on its way to passage. All those in favor on the call of the roll.
Lennon.
Aye.
Roywood.
Aye.
Leisure.
Aye.
Fate.
Aye.
Pabon.
Aye.
Ruiz.
Aye.
Aaronella.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item G2, please.
Item G2 is a communication from the clerk with a resolution authorizing the release of closed session minutes from 2013 through 2017 unredacted.
Be my motion to concur with the City Clerk Paul and adopt the resolution to release closed session minutes and have the corporate authorities fix necessary signatures and place it on its way to passage.
Second.
Motion by Fate, seconded by Lennon, to concur with Clerk Paul, adopt the resolution for the closed session minutes from 2013 through 17, unredacted, affix the necessary signatures, place on its way to passage. All those in favor on the call of the roll.
Lennon.
Aye.
Roywood.
Aye.
Leisure.
Aye.
Fate.
Aye.
Pabon.
Aye.
Ruiz.
Aye.
Aaronella.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item I1, please.
Item I1 is a communication from Alderman Carmichael requesting approval and city services for a block party of the 1500 block of Maple.
It would be my motion to approve the ward party for the corner of 15th Maple on 10/19/2024 from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Second.
Motion by Carl. 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item I2, please.
Item I2 is a communication from the Fire and Police Commission certifying James Hernandez as the next eligible firefighter paramedic.
I move that we accept this message from the Fire and Police Commission certifying that James Hernandez is the next eligible candidate on their fire department candidate eligibility list with an effective start date of October 14, 2024 as informational.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Pabon, to consider the communication from the Police and Fire Commission announcing James Hernandez is the next eligible candidate on the entry-level eligibility list with the start date of October 14, 2024 as informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Item J1, please.
Item J1 is a communication from Police Chief Semaglia introducing Officer Michael J. Mancha for swearing in.
I move that we accept this communication from Berwyn Police Chief Michael Semaglia, introducing the next lateral hire probationary police officer Michael J. Mancha with an effective start date of October 9, 2024, and his taking of the oath of office as informational.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Pabon, to introduce Mr. Michael Manja as the next lateral probationary police officer, start date of October 9th, 2024, as informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Officer?
Please raise your right hand. Do you, Michael J. Mancha, having been appointed to the rank of probationary police officer in the city of Berwyn and the county of Cook, do solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, support the Constitution of the state of Illinois, and faithfully discharge the duties of a probationary police officer according to the best of your abilities?
I do.
Congratulations, I'm so glad.
Congratulations, Michael.
Thank you, sir.
Item J2, please.
Item J2 is a communication from Chief Semaglia requesting the council to declare 2 vehicles as surplus and authorizing their sale.
I move that we concur with Police Chief Samaglia's request for authorization to sell 2 police vehicles that have been declared as surplus.
Second.
Do we have to send this to the Finance Department first to declare it as surplus?
Oh.
So if you look at the germane item to J2, we should refer this to the Finance Department to declare as surplus, and then, once they declare that, he'd be allowed to sell them.
Okay.
So
So
if you would redo your motion, please?
I make a motion that we concur with Police Chief Samaglia's request for authorization and send this to the department to have it declared as surplus.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Fate, to refer the communications to the Finance Department to declare the 2 vehicles as surplus, and upon that declaration allowing the sale of the 2 vehicles per Chief Samaglia's communication. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The consent agenda,
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
motion to present the consent agenda as presented by Lennon, seconded by Aaronella. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Aldermanic committee meetings, Alderman Lennon,
Call to chair.
Alderman Boywood,
Call the chair.
Alderman Leja,
Call of the chair.
Alderman Fate,
Call it, Chair.
Alderman Pabon.
We have an ad hoc rat abatement committee meeting on October 17th at 6 p.m. That's a Tuesday, or 17th? 15th?
15.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. 15th, correct. Thank you. It'll be at 6 p.m. in council chambers.
Alderman Ruiz,
Call the chair.
Alderman Aaronella,
Call the chair.
Alderman Carmichael.
Call the chair, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion adjourned by Carmichael, seconded by Aaronella. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Got it.
Alrighty. Goodbye, Jim.